24 hours later, and this defeat still feels absolutely surreal. Like, it's not resting with my spirit right now, you guys. The dedication, the application, the hard work, the tears, the blood, the sweat I saw on the field yesterday, the opportunities we created, the opportunities we had ruled against us as well too. Yeah, I'm sorry, but we did more than enough to deservingly win that final. And at this point in time, this is now 4 defeats in Wembley in a row. 4, it feels even crazy saying something like that. I might sound entitled, however, we set the standards very high. And with this defeat too, this definitely did hurt. In today's What We Learned video, I want to discuss some of the key talking points from the game. I want to talk about Havertz, VAR, as well as Tuchel's decision with Kepa as well too. So I hope you guys enjoy. Smash that like button, get involved. And before we get into anything, I want to get one big plug out of the way first. Today's video is brought to you by Spitch. Spitch is a fantasy manager app game which allows you to create and build your very own lineups, ranging from leagues from the Premier League to the Bundesliga as well. Once you create your own lineup, you have the choice to play for free with your friends or in my community, or if you want to put some money in, you can win up to a share of 70,000 a week. Of course, download the app, try out for free, you'll absolutely love it. On screen, I'm going to show you exactly how my team performed during the last game week. So as you guys can see here on screen, this was the lineup that I decided to use. I still have a lot of wiggle room to play with. I still have like tons of funds left to make some transfers. Of course, Dennis disappointed me. Why did I have a Watford player there? I wasn't really thinking, I don't know. But I've got a lot of money now to look to improve and update this team. So, of course, you guys, it's very easy to do this. All you have to do simply is you go to your lobby, decide whether you want to pay some money or not, or if you want to play for free to try the app out, you do that, you click on create lineup, and then you pick your formation you want to use. You go through your team, decide on the players that you want to add, the positions you want to focus on to gain those points as well too. And the trick is, the less money you use, the more manager points you earn, which gives you a boost. So you guys, what are you waiting for? Try Spitch out for free. Once you download the app, you need to do one big thing for me, you guys. Come and join my community page on Spitch. Shout out to Mesra for joining me. I'm hoping for more people to come through as well so we can compete and see who scores the most points during the season. As you can see, I'm leading currently. So if you want to beat me, then come download Spitch and let's start competing, bro. So right now let's start with things and let's discuss whether Thomas Tuchel made the right decision to bring on Kepa as the final sub in the shootout. Now, I definitely think there's a conversation to be had here. Am I going to be sitting here talking about Tuchel being a fraud, Tuchel's an idiot for, using Kepa as the final sub? Absolutely not, you guys. And why? Well, that's because I purely agree and understand the logic made behind that decision. And I think we all know the logic by this point in time. The very bait fact is the fact that out of all the penalty saves that both Mendy and Kepa have had to make, Mendy's made 2 saves out of 32, and Kepa's made 7 out of 24. I mean, if you're a betting man, I think it's fairly simple, fairly obvious who you're going to rely upon between the posts, especially when the same move pulled off for you during that Super Cup final against Villarreal. Now, we can't forget as well, you guys, that the entire team knew what the game plan was going to be once we got to a certain point in extra time. Not only was Kepa introduced for the penalty shootout, but also Jorginho as well too. We had other options on the bench and in your Hudson-Odois, your Rubens, ZX, many others as well. So the entire team knew what the deal, what the game plan was. With penalties, we know that a lot of luck is relied upon. It can be very 50-50. And cruel fate would have decided that Kepa would have been the player to make that final decisive moment in that penalty shootout. Of course, with him, missing the target completely. And I guess here's where I want to have a discussion now. Logically, I agree, and Tuchel did make the right decision for me. However, is there a discussion to be had when it comes to relying upon data compared to the human psychological element of the game? Of course, data easily decides that Kepa was the best option to use in the game. However, if you compare that to the performance that we saw from Mendy, putting in one of his best ever Chelsea performances in that game. That double save he made for me is one of the best saves I've ever seen. That'll be a save that none of us are going to forget for the next few seasons. And once he made that save, throughout the entire game, I was like, rah, Mendy is not conceding any goals today. And one of the brilliant things about Edouard Mendy is that psychological fear he imparts in opponent strikers, in opponent forwards, in attacking players. when they're 1v1 against him, because he knows how to get in their heads by keeping his frame big. I mean, the guy's 6'6", he has very long arms as well too. You know, when he keeps that surface area wide, he knows expertly how to close those angles down. And of course, when you're running 1v1 against him, the goal gets a lot smaller and smaller and smaller. Considering the respect that many Liverpool players already have for him, he seems one of the best keepers throughout the entire world. Was there an opportunity here to have kept Mendy on and then maybe relied upon more outfield players, maybe like a Ziyech or Hudson or Ruben or others, to come in the game and give us a different impetus in extra time? Because I did feel like in extra time, we definitely had that stamina advantage over Liverpool. And if we really pushed them with our football, which was opening them up time and time again, maybe the course of this game is completely different. If anything, I guess Kepa would have been the player who would have suffered the most with expectation, with pressure. Of course, you know, knowing that he has to be decisive in the penalty shootout alone. To be honest with you guys, when I saw certain penalties go in, there were two. That one goal from Van Dijk, where Kepa literally covered the area in which Van Dijk shot in, and still didn't get close. I'm just thinking the keeper, naturally confidence would be down a tiny bit. And at the end, when he should have kept his palm stronger to block that shot from Konate, after that I was like, okay, I don't really feel confident that we're going to win this, to be honest. And then I was proven right in the end. However, you know, you can literally have an eternal debate around this. If you know, for example, that Kepa was going to be the one to end the game, would it have made sense to just start him throughout the entire game so he can like acclimatize into the game, you know, really get that feel for the intensity of the game as well too? Who knows? But then I could be sitting here, we could have conceded a goal during like open play and boom, the entire trajectory of the game is completely different. And I mean, let's be serious about this entire conversation. Many conclusions can be read from them. However, what I'm focusing on is that debate between using stats, using logic, using data, compared to using your instincts when it comes to making the right decision in football. I definitely want to hear your thoughts and opinions behind this, you guys. Is this something you'd be open to seeing again in another final, or after this you're like literally over and done with it and you don't want to see the same mistake, I guess? I mean, it depends who it is, who's watching, ever again in a game. So right now, let's move on to the next point. I think I figured out why I found the defeat yesterday so surreal, and I think that VAR and referees were the main reason behind this, because the Lukaku VAR decision, wow, my friends, where do we even begin? It kind of reminds me of another like BS decision from like under Mauricio Sarri when we played against Man City. Ruben pulled off that one of the best skills I've seen from a player in recent memory. Perfectly weighted ball behind to fight Eden Hazard, for that to be called offside, that was nonsense. That was a match-winning moment there. And we had that same match-winning moment denied by a poor VAR decision. Now, I think what really annoys me about VAR is two things. Number one, the human element behind it. The guys who use and have to make decisions based on the footage captured, the data captured from VAR, I feel like it's not good enough quite a lot of times. I mean, we've seen it ourselves throughout the entire season, the amount of inconsistency you see. And I feel like this rule, this constant contradiction of referees having to allow the flow of the game to continue alongside, you know, imparting the laws and rules, for me, just stick to one, yeah? Either just follow, you know, let players do what they want, entertainment first, or just follow the rules properly, no matter how strict or nonsensical they are. Because with that decision yesterday, we've seen multiple different frames come out afterwards. Some showing Lukaku to be like a nanometer like offsides. Some of Lukaku being clearly onside. I've seen a ton of Lukaku being onside. I'm looking at the feet of Van Dijk and Lukaku, for God's sake. And you're telling me his elbow is the reason that that goal was disallowed, even though you can't even score goals with your arms. Yeah, this is where it doesn't make any sense. And it feels like maybe when they, you know, wrote these rules out, they didn't think about the details clearly. For me, I can maybe sympathize behind why the human element makes things so difficult when it comes to using VAR. And my thing is that technology of that level that I think eventually it will be at. You know, when we look at the frames after a game, look at the resolution, look at the frame rate. Now that makes a big difference. You know, if you're watching a clip in what, 24 frames compared to being like 30 or 60 frames. Or if the resolution of the photo is just so blurry as well too. Is any surprise why under a lot of pressure the wrong decisions could be made? So it makes it ridiculous that there's so much focus on precision to such a ridiculous degree when the entire software behind it doesn't necessarily take full advantage of that or even give you the information that you need to see. I think it's absolutely nonsensical. There definitely has to be like a revamp of the law, because I will never accept Lukaku was offside. I'm sorry, the guy was onside. He scored the match winner. That was his moment and it's gone. And don't even get me started on when it comes to looking at decisions on the field that are non-penalty situations. I mean, for God's sake, Kepa should have got a red card instantly. There's no debate here, yeah? Chef Jalab's tweeting afterwards saying how he had to get stitches in his thigh afterwards. Look how late it was. You can see the replay yourselves if we go online, you guys. How's this guy still in the field? It makes no sense at all. But this is what we're constantly working against time and time again. It does get frustrating, and personally, it does kind of feel like maybe the referee decisions kind of cost us winning the Carabao Cup last night. So right now, let's move on to the two final points. And it's time to talk about Kai Havertz. You know, I have to say, I definitely feel like I'm seeing some improvements now in Havertz. I think he's definitely grown more acclimatized to the intensity and pace of the league. I feel like now when he's playing with his back to goal more, you know, he's not losing the ball from behind. You know, before it used to be like a 50-50 thing of whether he'd maintain the ball, keep possession, or whether he'd get brushed off from behind and of course get dispossessed. I think what helps him is playing in this false nine role where, you know, he's never really close to any opposition defenders. They have to leave their position to engage him, not the other way round, and I think that is the best way to use him. What I find interesting about this false nine role is that it does seem like Kai takes more of a support role, which I think essentially was what a lot of false nine type of profiles and players do. Havertz was making assist-worthy plays to find your Mounts, your Pulisic's and others throughout the game. He had 2 goals disallowed as well, one with the header, and of course that shot with his left foot right in the end as well too. And I think there was a contrast between Havertz playing with Mount and Pulisic compared to Havertz playing with Lukaku and Timo Werner. I felt like with that first attacking lineup, the flexibility, the fluidity, I think that was just abundantly clear to see. I was constantly seeing Havertz and Mount interchanging positions, which is a thing I'm always calling for all the time. You know, it opens up new angles, new possibilities. You know, players can take on other players to just, you know, provide little bits of pressure here and there on the field. And having someone like a Pulisic who, you know, I understood why he played down the right hand side. It was more about him you know, engaging those runs and behinds, you know, looking to find the space to move into, and of course be quick support inside the box as well too. I felt we created an abundance of opportunities. We definitely know how to play against Liverpool's high line, the offside trap. Even though it's one of the best in the world, you know, we still were able to get past that on a few occasions. And of course, the manner of not taking those opportunities was quite disappointing. But then when Kai played alongside your Lukaku's and Werners, they took more priority when it came to making those runs and behinds. You know, Havertz was the one who was tasked to be more creative, play down that right hand side, you know, tucking in field a lot as well too. Sometimes making like a 3 in midfield at times, and interchanging with Werner down the left and the right hand side too. I feel like with Kai, when he has those options close to him, around him, when he can move off of them and with them, that's how you get the very best out of him. You know, I think playing this false nine role, it allows him to demonstrate the full arsenal of his abilities. And this is what I've been saying in my videos for a very long time. I know Havertz is a player that can make that final pass, that can run at his opponents, that can, of course, make the runs inside the box. I mean, the guy is pretty complete. It's been down to us to find the right position for him. And it does feel now like this false nine role is the way to go. Is he necessarily going to be getting 30 goals a season playing there? No. But I do think that, you know, 10 assists, 15 to 20 goals will get a season alongside, you know, more offensive goal-scoring wingers could be the direction to head down to now, because I think that stylistically he complements Tuchel's setup a lot more. I mean, I love Lukaku. I think he's a great player, but I think it's just safe to say I haven't given up hopes on Lukaku yet though. But I'd have to see Lukaku, Bound and Havertz play some more games together. I feel like theoretically this should be a front three that should work on paper. I see how they can play off each other, move positions, etc, etc. Who knows? Let's hope before the season ends we can see more of that. But I think right now we'll have to have a discussion soon about whether it's time to fully just back Kai, give him that position and let him grow and master it. So now you guys, let's move on to the final talking point. and let's discuss Mason Mount. You guys, on that note, I'm going to wrap things up, keep things moving. I had to add this part in the end right now, but wow, getting this video out has been an absolute nightmare. Of course, I got to use footage, you guys. I got to use a bit of tactics. I got to gas up. You guys know I like to put time in my production. However, kept getting taken down and down and down, so I had to just do a completely new thing in the end. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video still, and definitely get involved with some of the points I was talking about so I can hear and read your thoughts and opinions. So you guys, on that note, I'm the EFC, this is Blue Lions TV. I'll catch you guys later with some more videos. Cool.